This episode is sponsored by
My Local CFO, helping you build stronger growth by connecting your financial picture to your operational goals. Follow them on Facebook and LinkedIn at My Local CFO or visit their website at www.mylocalcfo.com.
Hey, it's the More Than I Do podcast with
Derek
and Sherelle. Hey, are you happy to be here?
I am happy to be here.
You know, it seems like the week flies by to get back to this time, and I'm so excited every day that I know it's the More Than I Do podcast day.
I know, it feels like yesterday we just did last week's show, so yeah.
I know. It's amazing. So we're in season 2, and the theme for season 2 is back to the basics.
Back to the basics.
And you know, we thought that, hey, as we're getting to the end of season 2, why not talk about back to the basics?
I mean, that's the name of the series, so we might as well talk about it.
So in this Back to the Basics, we're going to talk to you about some things that we've learned along the ways as we work with clients, as we dealt with our own households, as we help to build businesses. Because if you don't know, Derek and Sherelle, the More Than I Do podcast, it is a show about
being in business together, married and in business together. And yeah. It's just this day.
Yes, about being married and in business together. Why?
Because we have something to say and we want to share some of the pitfalls and successes that we've had, because we believe in marriage. Yeah. And we believe in entrepreneurship and being in business.
100%. Yep. And no one's talking about it.
No one's talking about it. So we wanted to talk about it and share our experiences with you.
Right. And not only our experiences, you know, we bring in experts, we bring in other couples, because we don't know it all. We've only been married 16 years and in business for 9 years. Mm-hmm. So we don't know everything. And we haven't been through everything that there can be under the sun. So we love to bring our guests in. We love to bring experts in to talk about different things. And then we have sometimes where we just come and we talk to you
by ourselves. But, you know, experts are important, guys, to have in your life and in your business. Our clients hire us because we are the experts in the financial field.
100%. So we're going to jump right into, let's just tell them really quick, just in case you don't know, you're tuning in for the first time. What's our business? I know everybody's like, okay, but what's their business? So our business is called My Local CFO, and we are a financial firm that help business owners not only accelerate growth, but match their operation and their financial pictures together. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, we help them build
their legacy. All of us, we get in business, we're building a legacy, and that's what we are. That's us at our core.
100%.
Building legacy.
That's why we're in business together. That's why we do the podcast, because like Derek said earlier, we care about business, we care about marriages, we believe in entrepreneurship. And if you're going to build a legacy for yourself, I'm not saying that you can't have a job and build legacy. What I'm saying is, as an entrepreneur, the stats show that, hey, we're not doing such a good job as business owners building legacies. We're building jobs, but not legacies.
Yeah. So often business owners, they're great at their service or product that they're producing, but the back end and the growth, that's where they kind of get stunted.
Yes.
And before you know it, if they don't hire the experts to help them, they're just using the knowledge and the resources around them. And it may not be enough to get them where they really want to be.
100%, which is why we come and do the podcast, right? To give you, again, those experts, the resources, all those things to put into action, not to just listen to us, but to put them into action.
Yes, if you really want to upset this one here, do not put something in action.
It's not meant just to be said or read. You know, this is
It's
not just motivation.
No, it's more than motivation. We want you to have actionable items so you can see a difference in your life.
Right. If you are listening to us live, because this is a live podcast, but it's also then broadcasted on like Spotify and all kinds of places, wherever you get your podcasts as well. We want you to comment. We want to talk to you. Let us know what's going on as we talk in the show today. Let us know where you're from, where you're watching us from. Shout out your city.
Yeah. We're here for you.
Shout out your business if you're a couple in business. Woohoo.
Mm-hmm. And tell us, how long have you been in business and how long you've been married?
100%.
Yeah.
So now we want to talk today, when we talk about going back to the basics, there's some things that whether it's in your household or whether in a business, it applies both ways.
Yes.
And we have dealt with them. We've seen them in other clients. We saw the pitfalls. We've seen what worked, what didn't work. And so we wanted to bring you about 7 or so different things or different tips that you can use as you're looking at back to the basics. And why did we choose back to the basics?
Because that's where it all starts. If you have a strong foundation, you can build anything.
You can build anything. And after 2020, which was our season 1 year, after 2020, we started season 2 kind of in 2020. We realized that, okay, with the COVID, with the pandemic, everybody's looking to pivot, but more importantly, just getting back to the basics of things to make sure that we're firming up that foundation, as you said. But more importantly, sometimes when you need to pivot, you've got to go back to the basics, like drill things down to be able to pivot and build. And so we wanted to make sure that that was happening. And that was just kind of where we thought things needed to be, family-wise, business-wise. That's where we went.
That's what we did.
Back to the basics. All right. So the first one is have a clear vision.
Yes. Having a clear vision is super important because you have to know where you're actually going. What are you actually trying to accomplish? And we have a clear vision in our house and a clear vision in our business.
So when we talk about clear vision in the house, let's go there first, and then we'll tackle business. Clear vision, what do you mean by that? We have a clear vision.
We have a clear vision. Our vision is legacy, building legacy. And within building legacy, we can have different missions, right? In our household is faith, integrity, helping others. That's who we are at our core. So those are missions, but our vision is legacy because all of those things help build legacy.
Help us lead to building a legacy. So no matter if we're here or not, we have impacted and we continue to impact.
Exactly.
100%, which leads into kind of the business of having a clear vision. And for us, that is very close to home. You know, when you talk about faith integrity and helping others, that's pretty much at the base of who we are. So of course, you're not going to change when you go into business. It's at the base of what our company is. But it's about building legacy there.
Yeah. You know, you're right. You know, the person that you are at your core, you take that everywhere.
You take it everywhere.
Whether it's at your job, whether it's in your business, or whether it's in your home or within your family or with family members. That's just who you are. And so it goes with you all the time.
Yeah. So the clearer you are about who you are as an individual, the clearer you can be about who you are as a couple, and the clearer you can be about what's the vision you have for home and what's the vision you have for the business so that you can be on the same page.
Exactly.
It's nothing like being off pages in the vision that you have for home. Say, for example, the kids. You know, if you have two different visions for kids, you may both say we love kids, we want kids. But if you have two different visions of why you want kids, that could be a disaster.
Two different outcomes. You use analogy all the time. Married couple on a farm, the husband may want kids because he sees labor hands, but the wife may say, I want kids because I want to love and nurture.
Build a family.
And while I'm sure the father loves the kids, it's still two different outcomes of the reason why you want
the
kids.
visions are totally separate.
Separate.
So when the mom is saying, "Hey, let's go take a family trip," the dad's like, "Nope, we got work to do."
Exactly.
Which causes all kinds of issues. Now I want you to stop and think about your family vision. And is it together or is it separate? Have you guys even talked about a family vision? And if you haven't, this is a great place to say, hey, I heard this podcast and they were talking about having a vision for the family. I think in season 3, we'll have on Ryan Ray, who him and his wife will talk about vision and vision for a family. I interviewed him on something else, and that's kind of where we'd already talked about kind of having a vision, but really strategically planning a vision for the family itself, and not just having family, but really cultivating what that vision is for the family, because it starts with the two of you. And then when you have kids, how do you incorporate them into that vision, right? If you're on 2 separate pages and your vision's not clear, it's going to be harder to incorporate your children into the vision or where you're going. You know, we talk about profitability a lot. That's what we deal with on a daily basis, is how we help companies. We've helped them add hundreds of thousands of dollars to their bottom line on a daily basis. And the thing about it is, how in your family are you being profitable? And I'm talking dollars, but not just dollars.
Yeah. Within your business and within your family, it's about being efficient. Yeah. How can you efficiently operate your household?
Right. But if you don't have a clear vision of what you guys are working towards and what you're moving towards, for instance, we say faith, integrity, helping others. Okay. But what does that mean? Now we've defined kind of what our goals are in our overall vision of building legacy. Now we've defined some pillars inside of that. And now we can take those pillars and we can measure against things that we put our money towards, our time towards, our effort towards, things that we want to build. Does it measure to faith, integrity, and helping others?
Yeah. And as you're incorporating your kids into the vision, they actually see both of you incorporating those same principles, and they become like you because they're watching you. Now, if we were on 2 different visions and the child sees me doing one thing and Sherelle doing another thing, conflicting visions, and now the child has no true guidance on what the family vision is.
Right. Who are you? What does your name stand for?
Ooh, that's good.
What does your business name stand for? Same thing there. If you don't have a clear vision, especially being a couple in business and then having a staff working for you, the same thing. You're like your kids at work. You know, there's conflicting, which means that I'm not quite sure where we're going. Where is this ship sailing?
That's right. And you'll lose good health sometimes by not having a clear vision.
You talked about efficiency earlier, definitely good help, but you talked about efficiency. Now, when we talk about business, you will definitely be ineffective. And the efficiency won't be there to move the way that they need to, because they may be caught between 2 different visions of what they need to do or how they need to do it or what's priority from a goal and vision standpoint.
That's right.
Wow. Good one. All right. Next one.
Next one is making tangible goals.
Ooh, I like this one.
Do you?
I do.
Why do you like this one?
You know
so
why
much?
I like this one? Because so often we create goals. We get to whatever the time frame it is that the goal is supposed to be done. And then we did not meet the goal. And then we're upset and we feel like losers and I don't know. And it's the same thing. And here we go 5 years later, I'm in the same place. Well, what makes it different is making the goal tangible. Because usually we have this pie in the sky goal, right? So it it's not filled with anything that we can measure it against, that we can check it against, that we can check ourselves against.
Yeah. It you know, we've seen some goals that's been so fluff that they really didn't really mean anything. You know what I mean?
Just by themselves.
Not just by themselves.
Well, they did mean something. They were just so lofty. It's like, how do you obtain that?
You couldn't really measure.
You couldn't put your hands around it.
You couldn't measure if I got there or not.
Wait a minute.
If I did,
it wasn't tangible.
It wasn't tangible. Right.
Yeah, so it wasn't tangible. So what do we mean by making a goal tangible?
Mhm.
What do we mean by that? So you have a big goal. So a goal could be, I want to be successful.
Yep.
A lot of people say that. I want to be successful.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So that is subjective depending on who you talk to.
What is what is successful?
Right.
What is successful?
What is successful?
Yeah.
Your definition is not my definition, is not Derek's definition, is not the next person's definition of what is successful.
Mhm.
But many times people say, I want to be successful. That's that overall lofty blanket goal that you're like, well, how do I know when I get there?
Right.
Because it's just an overall thing.
Mhm.
Now, if we make it tangible, you can take that same goal. Let's just stay with, I want to be successful.
Okay.
Okay. But what does success for you mean? What does it look like?
That's right.
Is it when I buy a house?
Is it when you finish a master's degree?
Is it when I have X amount of dollars in my bank account?
Mm-hmm. Is it when I can take 2 or 3 vacations a year?
Is it when I get married and have kids?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, we can go on and on and on.
On and on and on.
On and on and on because.
But the same on the business side.
Mm-hmm.
When you say I want a prosperous or successful business, what does that really mean? Is that because I have staff? And is it that I have 1 staff member? I have 30 staff members.
Is that 5 clients or is that 100 clients or is that 1,000 clients?
Is that I am making X amount of money in revenue, or is it the profit?
That's right.
It could be so many things, but if you're not clear, remember, you got to have that vision first so that you can be tangible on what your goals are.
That's right.
Now we can measure them. Now we can put a plan together. This is why I really like it, because you know me, I'm about action. We just talked about that. We can put a plan together now to reach the goal.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And in your business, you put a plan together, and the thing I like about it, you put a budget to it and all of that, and you really create a roadmap.
He's not cussing at you when he says budget.
Yeah,
he's not.
It really just creates a roadmap of decision making, what to do, when to do it, how to do it, if you understand the triggers of it. Yeah, a lot of people get to a decision and they have to choose A or B, and really it's difficult to choose A or B when you don't know where you're going. But if you know
where you are. But if you know where you are and where you're trying to go, mm-hmm.
A and B, that decision becomes very easy.
Mm-hmm. Let me just say this.
What's that?
You know, when you get in your car
mm-hmm.
and you want to go somewhere,
uh-huh.
a lot of times we use a GPS.
Yes.
It may be on your phone, it may be on your watch. I mean, back in the day, it was those big old
map.
Right. It could be a map. It was those big old GPSs when we first started out electronically. Garmin was a big one.
Yeah.
Okay,
mm-hmm.
we're telling our age.
We are telling our age.
It's all right.
Before Garmin, it was the big oak tree turn here.
Right, yeah. Right. But there was a map. So let's just take electronic GPS.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, you have to put in it where you are.
That's right.
Right? Number 2, you have to put in where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
If you leave one of those things out, guess what happens?
It won't work. It won't tell you. It won't give you a direction.
Hey, as our nephew say, it no work.
It no work.
It no work. Right?
That's right.
But now if I put in where I am
mm-hmm.
and where I want to go,
mm-hmm.
the steps that it gives me to get there, those directions are what we call of creating tangible goals. It becomes the plan of how you get there.
And you want to know, we're going to talk about this a little bit down the road, but not only if it gives you direction, if you make a wrong turn, it gets you back on course, or it gives you several different options of how to get where you're trying to go.
100%. You know, let's just go there right now. You know, when you're on a course, mm-hmm. you want to assess and tweak.
That's right.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Assess and tweak.
And that's our number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Assess and tweak. You want to be able to assess and tweak. So sometimes you do get off on the wrong road
mm-hmm.
in marriage, in family, in business, just in life.
In life.
Things happen. Sometimes life just happens to you,
mm-hmm.
whether it's business or personal. Yep. And sometimes we happen to life.
That's right.
I'm just being honest.
Hey, yeah. Life is real. I mean, things happen, and sometimes it seems to happen back to back to back, and before you know it, you are definitely off course.
100%. You know, given the data that I had, I know you know this, but I'll share this with our More Than I Do crowd,
Please.
listeners, because I think it's important. Don't be scared to make a mistake here as you're assessing and tweaking. You know, at the end of the year, going into this year, I made some decisions that cost us a lot of money. We're not going to discuss how much money it cost.
We're not going to discuss,
but it was in the thousands.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just say that. A lot of money in business. This is business that we're
business.
talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? We assess and
tweak.
But that's easy to do when you have a plan.
That's right.
If you don't have a plan, you're always starting from scratch, which means that you're being reactive. And you know, I don't like reactive.
Oh my gosh. I hear this conversation more than once a week. Don't be reactive, be proactive.
But why? Because when you're reactive, you're going from one fire to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Mm-hmm. You can't catch your breath. You feel like you're on a wheel. You don't have control of anything. Your life is in spiral and you're just reacting to everything around you. Mm-hmm. When you take a time to get those tangible goals, and then as you're moving along, you're assessing and tweaking, mm-hmm. it allows you to be proactive. Doesn't mean that fires won't come.
Right.
Because it will. That's called life's whirlwinds, right?
That's right. But, you know, the more proactive you are, the less fires you should have. The
less. And so the more peace you get, mm-hmm. the more you're on top of things, mm-hmm. the more you are in control.
Yeah.
Right. And so with that being said, not just you in control, but now take it away from just you and your spouse and have a staff behind that, or have kids behind that, or have family behind that. If you're reacting to fires, guess what they're doing? Everybody's in disarray. Everybody don't have no peace. Everybody run around like chickens with their head cut off.
And they are being reactive as well.
And they're being reactive. Mm-hmm. So when you become proactive as the business owners on the same page, mm-hmm. knowing what the goals are and they're tangible, and you've got those directions in the way you're moving, you have your plan, you're assessing and tweaking along the way. Mm-hmm. Guess what? Not only are you in control, but now everyone is able to sail calmly and do what they need to do efficiently, mm-hmm. and feel and have the trust that they need to have in you as the parents, as the employees, as employer, excuse me.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned sailing, and I began to think about a boat. And are you rowing mm-hmm. to where you're going, or are you sailing to where mm-hmm. you're going? Mm-hmm. Both kind of get you there. Rowing is a lot more work than just sailing and allowing the wind to carry you.
You know, you do a little bit of work in sailing to put the sail up, mm-hmm. and you find out where the wind is blowing, right? That's your plan. Yep. Where's the wind going? I want to go this way, and this is what I need to set my sail. And then you can sit down. Doesn't mean you're not still working. You're checking things here, but you're relaxed.
That's right.
When you're rowing, guess what happens? You're working. It's like being on that wheel. You're just going. And when you get over to wherever your destination is, doesn't mean you don't make it to your destination.
Yeah.
Both ways you're going to get to your destination. One, you might get there faster. You're going to enjoy the ride. You can enjoy the people that are riding with you. That means family time. That means time with staff. That means understanding and spending quality time learning different people and clients and everyone being happy. Mm-hmm. Or you can get there in the rowing and you just dead tired and you don't wear everybody else out. And now you can't even enjoy.
You didn't enjoy the journey.
You didn't enjoy the journey, but you can't even enjoy where you landed.
Yeah.
Because you're tired. Mm-hmm. Now you need to take 5 days of sleep. You know, when people go on vacation and you take 5 days to sleep on vacation, by the time it's time to come home, you're like, oh, I'm just starting vacation because you're tired.
You're tired. That's
You
right.
didn't really enjoy the family. Family done gone on about their business and come back and telling you all about the good times. They got all the good stories. And you tired in the bed sleep.
That's right.
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this the easy way or the hard way. So having a plan, having those tangible goals, which creates a plan, allows you to assess and tweak mm-hmm. what you need to do.
That's right.
Now,
okay.
One of the big things, two big things that are coming up, number 4 is identifying the obstacles and resources.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now, if we're assessing and tweaking, we got to identify the obstacles and the resources. But even when we're making our goals tangible and we're understanding the vision, we've got to understand, okay, this is our course. What obstacles are going to be in our way? It doesn't mean that you know all of them. No one's a mind reader. Doesn't mean you know all of them.
Right.
But being clear allows you to be proactive,
That's
and
right.
not reactive, and kind of have some things set in place.
So when them obstacles come, you already know what you're going to do to them or do around them.
And
And
we did a one of our podcasts, we talked about calling an audible, which is a football term for those of you that don't know it. And an audible, explain what that is.
So audible is when football players line up, whether they're on the offensive or defensive side, both sides have a quarterback or someone who's calling the play, whether they're doing it themselves or they're getting the information from the sidelines. And so if you're on offense, you can look and see the type of defense that you're going against. And so sometimes if you have the wrong play called, you call an audible so that you can put your players in a better position to succeed.
So to be clear, we may have been in a huddle. We got a plan. This is our plan. All right. So this is the play we're going to have. We line up. And we like, we didn't, you see that coming?
That's the wrong play.
That's the wrong play. We're going to have to switch this up. That's what you call it audible.
Yeah.
And so you call it on the line in the midst of.
You're trying to get brownie points because you're talking football. You know I love some football.
I know. I learned a little bit, a little bit. No, I already knew a little bit. I learned a little bit more.
Okay.
When you wake up and go to sleep to ESPN, you can't help it. You can't help it.
But yeah, and you know, in life, in your home or your business, sometimes you wake up with this plan.
Yeah.
That you're going out to execute it, and you can see the obstacles in front of you.
Right.
So sometimes you got to call an audible. You
got to call an audible. Yeah. But more importantly than that, if you have a plan in place, it is not like that it's not that their goal changed. The vision didn't change that they had.
No.
It's just we need to find another way to attack to get our goal accomplished.
To get the touchdown.
Because the touchdown was the goal.
That's right.
The vision is to win the game. The touchdown's the goal.
That's right.
And so the same in home and business. What are some of the things that you see coming, but because you're so busy reacting, you don't have time to call the audible. Right. And so it becomes that one more fire or that really big fire that just kind of consumes you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So identifying obstacles is number one, being very clear. The more honest you are with yourself, the more honest you are with your team, the more honest you are with your family at home, the more honest we are together as we're doing business. Because he may see something that I didn't see.
Right.
When we created the plan or vice versa. And so I've got to trust him enough to understand his skills, his strengths, and understand his knowledge to say, okay, well, let's figure out how we're going to get around this.
That's right.
And sometimes you don't see the obstacle.
No.
So audibles are for when you see the obstacle. Sometimes you don't see the obstacle, but it's easier if you have a plan like COVID. No one saw that coming. That's a real obstacle. Hello.
It is. I remember being with one of our clients and we were like, okay, I guess we're going home for a week, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Still working from home today.
Still a year later. Hello.
So yeah, no one saw that coming. But again, that's an obstacle that you didn't see coming. But you still had your plan. And now you start looking at some of these different resources to help you regroup and call an audible for the unseen.
Which means that not only identifying obstacles, but then understanding what your resources are, because money is not the only resource.
Oh, definitely not.
And every time I hear people say, it doesn't matter, just in life and business, I need more money. I need more money. I need more money. Well, what do you need money for? This goes back to tangible goals. If you're really clear about what those goals are and understanding what it takes, then maybe you don't need the cash. Maybe there's someone in your network or an ally which is our number 5, identifying allies.
Okay.
Because they may have the resource, they may be able to do it for you. So it may not be about always having the cash, the money. It's about who are my allies? Who can I collaborate with? Who can I partner with? Who can I vacation with? Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Who has kids my age that I can carpool with, right? Those allies.
Yeah, for some reason, a lot of people feel like they have to do everything themselves. They have to pull themselves up by the bootstraps and do everything themselves. When the reality is, you find anyone you feel is successful, and they will tell you, I had a team of people helping me. Whether you saw the team or not, they had allies and resources helping them get them to where where they needed to be or where they was trying to go. No one is an island. No one can get to where they want to get to by themselves.
I had a very dear friend say to me one time that if it's big enough, if it's only big enough for you to handle everything, then your vision's too small.
That's right.
Your vision's too small, because when you have a vision, now a goal, you might be able to do pieces of that goal by yourself, right? Or get to certain goals right there. But when you have a vision, it takes more than just you. You have to have allies. And I'm going to add this in here and build a good network.
Okay. Yeah.
You have to have allies and then build a good network, right? Because in a network, I can call on you. You can call on me, not you particularly. I'm just talking about other people in your network.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'll be willing to give you a resource. Or a contact for resources. I may not have it. The ally may not have it, but they may go to bat for you. They may fight for your business if it goes up before the city council for something. You will need allies. If in your family something may happen and you need someone to come in and advocate for you and your family, you've got those allies and you've built a strong network that's not about just taking, but you're also giving to it too. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. I think for some of our clients that are on our largest services, I feel like that's one of the benefits of being our client.
Yeah.
I have tax attorneys that I can pick up the phone and they're going to answer my call.
Right.
I have CPAs that will answer my call.
Yeah.
I have insurance people. They're going to answer my call.
Yeah.
I have bankers.
Yeah.
They're going to answer my call because when they call me, I answer their calls.
Yeah. Yeah. And you help each other out. You're there for each other and you help each other with resources, where if you're just a client off the street, you may not be able to get those resources as handy.
That's right.
It may cost a little bit.
Yeah. They may charge you for it.
Yeah.
Well,
we can pick up the phone and just have that phone call.
A quick conversation.
Right. So, which brings value to our clients, which brings value to our business. And then on the other side, the same thing, we just do that personally, which brings value to our life.
Brings value to our life. That's right.
100%. I had a question. I was looking for something business-wise, and I reached out to my network and said, hey, this is what I'm looking at doing. Anyone know anybody? And I got someone in Canada. I got some references in the U.S., and then I got some references across all of North Carolina from people who were just in my network that knew, trust me, right? I'm there for them. They call or they email. I'm there for them. They were there for me. And that was just a simple, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Do you know anybody?
Yeah. Most people really want to help.
We all do.
It's just,
most of us.
Yeah, most people want to help. But a lot of times we as people don't want to ask.
Well, and that's it. And because you don't know how to help, right? You want to help, but you don't want to be intrusive and different things like that. And we don't know how to ask. And then we don't want to be taken advantage of. So we want to help, but we don't want to be taken advantage of. And a lot of times it's you're helping and but there's no return on the other side. So you want to make sure that the allies that you have and that the network that you're building is one that allows for win-win situations.
Yeah, definitely balance, because if it's one-sided, then that's not a true network.
Well, it's not a win for the other person. It's still a network, but it's not a win. So, someone's always growing and the other person is just staying where they are. Sad, sad, sad. So number 6.
Number 6.
Do not.
Underestimate yourself.
This is important. This is important.
This is very important.
Especially as business owners and working together as spouses.
And just individuals.
As an individual. 100%.
Yeah. You are enough.
100%. Boom, drop the mic.
Yeah. You are enough. There's been times where people will call me for just advice with the jobs or things like that. And I tell them, they hired you for a reason. So you have all the qualifications that you need, or they wouldn't have hired you.
100%. You told me that one time. I got a job and I was like, oh, I got to prove to them that he's like, no, they hired you for the job. You've already proved it because you're hired for the job. Like, you got chosen out of everybody. So there's nothing to prove. Now, what you should be learning is learning what you need to learn for whatever your next move is.
Mm-hmm.
Not for this move, right? And definitely showing up, being present, being there, but you are enough who you are. That's why they hired you. So just put that on, just like I did this jacket. Put it on. Wear it.
Wear it. You are enough.
You are enough.
Put that on your back. You are enough to achieve whatever you set your mind to achieve.
100%. So let me just say this. A lot of times as we move from different things in our life, we forget the skills, knowledge, ability, and gifts that we've acquired or used along the way because they don't fit in the box by name for where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
But that same skill, knowledge, ability, and your gifts that got you to where you are today, you're going to increase them and grow them, but you can pull from those are tools in your toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
And so pulling from those, and I'm going to tell you how I really understood this.
Okay.
Way back in the day, for about 6 years, I worked in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of had cornered myself to not have another job other than a job in criminal justice because of the way my career was going.
Okay.
Until I realized the skills, knowledge, and abilities that I had,
mm-hmm.
the gifts that I brought to the table that were just my personal gifts, and packaged them for corporate. So using the names that they use in the criminal justice system didn't equate to corporate skills, knowledge, and abilities.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, they were the same thing.
The exact same thing.
And so it was just understanding, don't look at the names of things that you have done and the skills that you've gotten. Look at them at the core of what you're actually bringing to the table.
Yeah.
And so that allowed me to change and be able to move into corporate America, right? And move outside of criminal justice and more into government and outside of the criminal justice arena,
mm-hmm.
because I understood what I brought. They were asking for the same thing. It just had a different name. And so a lot of times as we move from business to personal, to being parents, to being communities activists or serving in our community, to whatever, church, church servants, whatever we're doing, we forget, oh yeah, I got this too. So we don't bring it along because it seems like because of the name, it doesn't fit. I remember I had, was in Bible studying the book of Isaiah with a group, and we were coming out of one of our classes and we had to go down some steps, and a lady fell down the steps.
Mm-hmm.
And is laying on the steps. And one of the other ladies was just screaming, oh my gosh, get help. Then she stopped and said, wait a minute, I'm a nurse. Different setting, right? And she hadn't been a nurse for a while, meaning because she was a stay-at-home mom at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a skill that she used daily,
right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was still there. That knowledge, skill, ability, and the gifts that she had was still there. And then she said, okay, wait a minute, I know what to do. But the first instinct, because it's something that she hadn't used in a while, something that she didn't have, was, oh my gosh, I need somebody to help. When she was the help that was right there.
Yeah, you mentioned stay-at-home mother,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I think they are the best project managers
and
budgeters ever.
That's just the beginning.
Yeah, they run a house, they manage the children, their schedules, but they really don't look at themselves like that.
Mm-mm.
But I think they really should. They do a lot more than what it appears to be. You know?
Right. They're not sitting home watching TV and eating bonbons.
No.
I can guarantee you that.
No.
That's not happening. Now, they may sit for a second when there's a nap time.
Oh, sure.
But hey, that's called a break.
Even in corporate.
That's called a break.
That's called a break.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So don't underestimate yourself is really what we're saying.
That's it. And you're able to do more than you think you can do.
And trust your knower.
Mm-hmm.
Trust your knower. A lot of business is about what you're given, the vision that you're given, and that everybody may not understand it. Everybody may not agree with it. Everybody may not see it. You know what my motto is?
What's that?
I don't have any time to explain. And when I get there, there'll be no need for explanation. So you either get on or you get off. But either way, I'm moving forward because I understand what my vision is. I understand what my mission is. And I know what the goal is that I'm trying to conquer at this time.
Yeah. And you can't allow people to project their fears onto you and stop you.
Even if they love you.
Even if they love you. I mean, I think about a child on a porch and the mother is saying, don't jump off the porch. You're going to hurt yourself. But how do you know that this child didn't have the instinct and they're going to be the next best high jumper in the whole world? But the motherly instinct is, I need to tell you to stop before you hurt yourself.
Right, because I want to protect you.
Or before you embarrass yourself, or before you whatever.
Right.
But if you know what you know,
and you're knower,
you go and do it.
That's deep down in your soul.
Regardless of what anybody else says.
It doesn't matter if you're the only one doing it, the only one moving. Trust me. Think about Noah and the ark. He built that ark, you know, for all my Christian people. If you don't know the Bible, let me tell you the story. Noah was building the ark and there was no rain in sight. None in sight. So imagine what people said about him. They called him all kind of crazy names. They probably ain't no telling, right? His wife was probably embarrassed, like, oh my Lord, he's still building this ark. Lord, y'all come get him, please.
This ark is big as the house. What is he doing?
What is he doing? Well, what did God say? He had told him to build the ark because he was sending a flood. And when he finished, not only did he send a flood, but he sent animals 2 by 2 to make sure that they were preserved for the flood. 2 of each kind of animal, male and female, 2 of each kind, and his family were all in this ark for days. Hundreds of days. I bet you everybody, well, they were floating by then, but that's a whole other story. But I bet you when it started raining and didn't stop, they were wishing that they had helped him build that ark.
Well, I would have built something.
It's too late. It's too late.
It's too late.
So know in your knower. Last point we have for you today, number 7.
Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. I tell everybody, whether you crawl, you walk, or you run, keep moving forward, because if you stop, anything that's stopped and not growing is dead.
Oh, wow. Did you just go there?
I did.
Okay. All right. I don't know what to say now. I say anything when you stop moving, you give time for weeds to grow up around you, which means that you are dying because they're eventually going to choke you out. And then when you start trying to move again, you've got all these things that are holding you back, holding you down, that have to be cut away before you can even move. So it's impeding your progress. Crawl, walk, run. It doesn't matter. Crawl, walk, run. You all have that time.
Yeah. And sometimes there are seasons. Sometimes there are seasons to run.
Yep.
Sometimes there are seasons to walk. Sometimes there are seasons to crawl.
Either way.
Just keep moving.
Keep moving
because
forward.
You know what we found during this past year with the pandemic, you may have been running, but you had to slow down to walk or crawl so you can make the pivot and the turn so that you didn't tumble over.
Some people came to a screeching halt. And because they didn't have a plan, because they didn't do assessing, because they didn't have tangible goals, they were just lost. and was like, well, this is the only way I know how to do things, and I can't do anything else.
Close the door, bye.
Close the door, bye.
Mm-hmm.
Other people said, oh, okay, well, they doing what? Okay, well, I might have to sit here for a second, meaning I can't do things the way that I normally did them.
Mm-hmm.
But while I'm sitting here, let's get this together. Let's figure this out. So when we talk about crawl, walking, or running, it may be in a different way. It may not always be in the same way, but you're continuing to move. Consistency beats perfect every time.
All the time. I think about, there's a distillery here in Durham, North Carolina, and they were producing vodka. And during the time of the pandemic, they realized, well, people aren't going to go to the bar and drink as much anymore. Let's change our recipe and make hand sanitizer. Boom.
They had the process. They already had processing systems in place. They had the right equipment. It was a matter of changing what liquid they were serving.
That's it.
And they bottled it in their same bottles.
In the same bottle. And now they're doing both.
Now they're doing both. So they created a totally new revenue stream.
Yep.
When you look at this in your house, in your business, how do you keep things moving forward? How do you keep things moving forward? What is it right now that's at a halt? What is it right now that you're not quite sure of? Here's a great time to just take assessment. If you don't have a plan in place, put one in place.
Put one. It's never too late.
Never too late.
Don't be embarrassed about where you are. Today can always be day one.
I love that. Today can always be day one, which means that you're changing the future. Today changes tomorrow. So if you wait till tomorrow never comes. Let's just because it's always today. But today changes tomorrow, which means your next today can look different because you changed today. That's right. Know that was a mouthful, and somebody was like, huh? Go back and listen to the podcast again. Rewind and listen to the podcast again.
You will pick it up.
You would pick it up. You know, this has been amazing. I cannot believe that we have already finished season 2.
Wow.
Of More Than I Do podcast.
I know. You've gotten me to talk for 2 seasons. Can you believe?
Months. What in the world? You got people thinking like, who is this man?
I know.
Where did he come from? I said, I promise. I've been telling y'all this.
Yes, because I don't talk that much. But hey.
He don't talk that much to y'all. He can't be quiet around here. He just wants y'all to think he's quiet.
Maybe. But
full of wisdom, as you can see. Full of wisdom. And I have so enjoyed. I hope you've enjoyed.
I have.
We have grown more just as a couple of learning things and exploring things as we teach you things that we've already known.
Yeah.
So
teaching you or just giving our stories to you help us grow.
100%.
So we thank you for that.
We thank you for listening. Like, share, comment. If you're on our Facebook page, it's the More Than I Do podcast. If you're on LinkedIn, it's the More Than I Do podcast.
Or you can visit us online at morethanIdo.life.
MorethanIdo.life. That's LIFE. And you know what? You can subscribe to us so that we can keep in touch with you and let you know what's coming out. If you are a couple in business, you can go on to morethanIdo.life and register to be a guest on season 3. We got some good things coming up in season 3. We're super excited about it.
Yeah, and when you register, also, ask questions. We'll be more than willing to answer them in one of our segments.
And let us know what you want us to talk about. And if we don't know it, we'll bring someone in that can talk about it, that knows it. We're here for you. We're not just here to be here all day and just talk to you and just kind of just talk. No, we're here because we want to make sure that we're giving you something that you can take back in your life, in your business, in your marriage. We need strong marriages and we need strong businesses. They're both needed. We need good examples out there.
Yep. And that's going to make this country a better place.
Country a better place. One couple, one business at a time. Now, we do want to take time and say to all of our guests for season 2, we thank you so much for being here with us. I think we have a little slide. I think we do. Yep. Let's see. Bam!
Yes.
So we've got Indulge, Precious, and Jay. We've got Pamela Wimbush that talked about health. Indulge talked about healthy eating. Pamela Wimbush talked about just your health in general. We've got one of my favorite couples, Nancy and Dan, who talked about grief and loss and how to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
We had Miss Barbara Hemphill, who laid it down about organization and how to keep each other organized.
Mm-hmm.
Don and Cheyenne came on and they talked to us about how to build organizations and how to build teams. Mm-hmm. We had the dope couple,
mm-hmm.
Lakeela
yep.
and Eric Bowden.
Okay. Yep.
That talked to us about how you can have a healthy relationship and make it what you want it to be. Mm-hmm. And we had Helen Moses that talked about communication being the key and how to communicate with each other and how to just be a better communicator, period. Woo! We really went back to the basics.
Back to the basics.
And I thank and love each one of you dearly. Derek thanks and love each one of you dearly. We had fun with each one of you, and we so thank you for that. Now, we want to say to everybody, keep tuning in. Mm-hmm. We're coming up with season 3, but we'll have some goodies before season 3 comes out. So keep posted. Yep. Make sure you're liking and sharing our Facebook and LinkedIn pages. Mm-hmm. Make sure you're going to our website.
And again, that's morethanIdo.life. We want you to register. We want you to ask questions. If you're interested in being a guest, we want you to put that out there as well.
Awesome. And More Than I Do podcast is our Facebook and LinkedIn. Yep. Until next time, we love you very, very much. And hopefully we see you on the other side.
Thanks for tuning in.
Take care. Bye. Bye. This episode is sponsored by
My Local CFO, helping you build stronger growth by connecting your financial picture to your operational goals. Follow them on Facebook and LinkedIn at My Local CFO or visit their website at www.mylocalcfo.com.